You should be mixing smarter, not harder, because mixing is a crucial part of Schedule 1. But let's be honest, most people have no idea how it actually works. They just copy whatever recipe they see online. Monkey see, monkey mix, without understanding how mixing really works under the hood. And that's a shame, because mixing is one of the most complex, most interesting mechanics in the entire game. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and the more you understand it, the more money your operation is going to make. In this video, I'm breaking down mixing into 3 parts: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So whether you're just starting out, or you've been mixing for months, I promise you're gonna learn something new. But before we dive in, I want to share something about mixing that nobody else has found yet. A little BigWilly exclusive, just for my subscribers. Or at least the 13.7% of you that are actually subscribed. Remember our good pal Geraldine? Well, turns out he's been hiding a pretty wild secret. In fact, I kinda dropped a hint about it in my tier list video. And if you blinked, you might have missed it. Did you catch it? That little shack isn't just some random building. It's got something special going on. Here's the kicker. Originally, the game wasn't even supposed to have mixing stations. Instead, Geraldine was gonna mix everything for us right here in this shack. By moving some things around, I was able to enable this really weird chute on the side of his shack, and it wanted some drugs and 5 megabeans. But once I put them all into the mixing chute, Geraldine gave me this, a biohazard box, filled with my freshly mixed product. Honestly, I thank Tyler every day for not making us rely on Geraldine's crusty ass shack to get our mixes. There's just no way he could keep up with the insane mountain of coke bricks I'm cranking out. I literally have every single property producing product, so he doesn't have a chance. But now that we've exposed his past life as a failed chemist, let's talk about how you can do it better. And we're gonna kick things off with the beginner section. So in order to start mixing, you've gotta buy a mixing station from our main man Dan and slap it down at one of your properties. Without this vital piece of equipment, you're not gonna be able to mix anything. Then grab some ingredients from the gas mart along with drugs from your farm, toss everything into the mixing station, hit begin, and just like that, you got a brand new product with upgraded stats. But what exactly does mixing actually improve? Well, for starters, it boosts the sale price of your product. But how much that sale price gets increased depends entirely on what effect your new drug has, because each effect has a different price multiplier that can seriously fatten up your profit margins. Next, and this is crucial, it increases addictiveness. Addictiveness determines how often customers come back, how high you can raise the base price in the products app, and how much you can overcharge your customers before they start a riot. Addiction is the single most important factor when making your drugs. I cannot stress this enough. You have to make sure the drugs you're selling have 100% addictiveness. Not 80, not 90, 100. Because if your drugs aren't fully addictive, you're basically just leaving stacks of cash on the table. And finally, it gives your drug a fancy new side effect that does some pretty cool stuff, like transform you into a one-eyed cyclops, turn you into a ticking time bomb, or make you violently shit your pants. There's also a secret effect that can only be obtained by editing your save file, but I mentioned that in a different video. But other than that secret effect, every single other one can be made using just those ingredients at the gas mart. And if you want to know what exactly to mix to get each of the effects, well, I gotta take you to the intermediate section. You see, that brand new side effect you got from mixing wasn't random. It's directly tied to which ingredient you throw into the mixing station. And lucky for you, I've got the full list right here. And just to spice things up, I'm gonna wrap it. I'm sorry in advance. The Addy was thought-provoking, it made my head big, and bananas made me ginger, so now I look like this. Batteries gave me bright eyes, I look like an angel choir, and the chili is real spicy, man, it caught me on fire. Now Cute keeps me energized, helps me run a lot faster, while the donuts were real calorie dense, and now I'm a lot fatter. Red Bulls are athletic, helped increase my movement speed, bulletproof medicine is sedating and lowered my sensitivity. Gasoline is toxic, which made me throw up. Or semen gave me a long face, so I look like, what the fuck? Iodine is generizing, which made me grow tits. Mega Bean kept my mind foggy, now I can't remember shit. Motor oil is slippery, made me move like a snail. And mouthwash is bald in, it made me ugly as hell. Paracetamol made me sneaky, I was dodging all the cops. I was picking pocket clean, no I never got caught. I never stopped, I never stopped. Shout out Highland Point. Oh, and Viagra makes you black. Don't ask me why. Anyways, you probably noticed that I only said like half of the effects in the game. I mean, I'm missing zombifying, shrinking, paranoia, electrifying, and a lot more. But that's because those effects don't come from just one ingredient. You need multiple. These higher tier effects only show up when you start combining different ingredients together, which makes things more complicated but also a lot more profitable because these higher end effects have a much larger price multiplier than the single ones do. And to explain how it all works, we have to move on to the advanced section, and get ready because it's really nerdy. You see, in the code, each ingredient has two important properties: its guaranteed side effect and its mixing direction. Now, the guaranteed side effect property is pretty easy to understand. If you throw in some Viagra, you're getting the Tropic Thunder effect every time. It's guaranteed, so no RNG. But the mixing direction, now that one's a bit trickier because it involves this, the universal mix map. The game uses this map to plot the position of all the different effects onto a 2D plane. Think of it like a big circular chart that shows how similar certain effects are. Stuff like relaxing and sedating are right next to each other, and energizing is just a few steps away from refreshing. It's honestly a lot like a horoscope, except it's for druggies instead of mentally unstable white girls. This map is how the game figures out which effects evolve when you start combining ingredients. For example, let's say you're mixing a chili with some weed that already has the sedating and disorienting effects. Chili has the guaranteed effect of spicy, but it also has a mixing direction of 1, 0, which means 1 in the X direction and 0 in the Y direction. So when you use it, the game then moves each of the existing effects in that direction to find a new point on the mixing map. And if it ends up in empty space, well, nothing happens. But if that new point ends up at a different effect, the game transforms the old effect into the new one. So let's look at our example again. Here's what ends up happening. Disorienting gets moved to the right, but it lands in an empty area, so it stays the same. And then sedating also gets moved to the right, but it lands inside of laxative, so it gets transformed. And of course, we still get the spicy effect from the chili. So the final mix turns out to be a Taco Bell special: laxative, disorienting, and spicy. Yeah, it's a little complicated when it comes to getting the higher tier effects, but the good news is that you don't need to know any of this, because the easiest way to find a good recipe is simply by using the Schedule 1 Mix Calculator website, right here. But for those of you who don't want to use a website, I'm also just going to give you the most profitable recipe for each of the drugs, right here in this video. But first, we gotta answer a question that comes up constantly in my comments. How many ingredients should you actually be mixing? And the answer is 4. Yeah, I know, that sounds wrong, but you gotta hear me out here. Most people assume they should go for an 8-step mega mix. It's mega brain, because clearly more equals better, right? Wrong. 8-step mixes are way less efficient than just doing a clean, tight 4-step mix. And here's the reason why. Every customer has a set weekly budget. Now, this budget does scale based on a few different factors, but the actual amount is set in stone. So it makes zero difference whether you sell them 10 Coke at $200 each or 5 Coke at $400 each, because they're still spending the same $2,000 each week. And with the current state of the game, we're pumping out way more drugs than we can realistically sell. Our supply completely outweighs our demand, so having to sell more units doesn't actually matter to us. But what does matter is the addictiveness. We're mixing in the first place to raise the addiction level. And a 4-mix gets you right at 100% addictiveness while only using one chemist. So it is by far the most efficient way to do mixing. Plus, 8-step mixes are a pain in the ass to restock. Now that we've cleared that up, here are the best 4-step mixes for every drug in the game. Meth and Coke are the exact same formula, and this is the exact one I use in my mixing station video. Banana, Cuke, horse semen, megabean. But each of the 4 weed strains are entirely different recipes, so listen up. OG Kush is going to be Cuke, Addy, horse semen, megabean. Sour Diesel is going to be Cuke, megabean, iodine, motor oil. Green Crack is going to be Addy, Viagra, horse semen, and megabean. And Granddaddy Perp is going to be Addy, horse semen, Viagra, iodine. The orders do matter, so make sure you do it correctly. But if you're the kind of player who doesn't care about efficiency and just wants that dopamine overload from selling a $1,000 baggie of rainbow flavored horse meth, don't worry, I'm going to show you the best 8-step mixes as well, because the best way to play a game is how you enjoy playing the game. But I'm only going to put them on the screen for a second because fuck you. I want to give a big thanks to Noct, Estonia, and Noxelius for helping me out with some research. They're all members of my Discord, which, by the way, you should join if you haven't already. It's not just for Schedule 1, we talk about a lot of other stuff as well. Alright, adios, and stay silly, y'all.